Hi, this is Jennifer. Welcome back to Pope's Plates. Today we're going to be making a dish called almost lasagna. You'll see why as I make it. Before I start the ground beef, I do want to tell you that you're going to want to take out a block of cream cheese and have it working its way toward room temperature. That's going to make the process a whole lot easier a little bit later. Before I start my meat, I am going to preheat the oven to 350 because that's what we're going to need it probably in about 20 minutes. So I'm going to turn my eye to medium high. The recipe calls for 1 pound of ground beef. We're going to actually be sharing this with a family friend who's just had surgery. We say that a lot. Our friends don't have that much surgery. It's just that when they do, when we cook for them, we record it. Who just had surgery a few days ago. And so this is 1 1/3 pound of ground beef. So I'm going to take my meat breaker upper and break it up a little bit. And we're going to wait for this to get brown. I am not going to salt and pepper it until after I drain all the grease. So we'll get back to you every once in a while and let you know how things are going. We're still working on browning our ground beef. I forgot to tell you that I did get 80-20 ground beef. It's often, at least for me, tempting to get 73-27 because it's cheaper. And it's also sometimes tempting to get the 93%. But I think this is a great balance of enough fat that adds flavor and not so much fat that that's what you're paying for. So make sure, obviously it's up to you, but try to use 80-20, especially in this, just so that it has exactly the amount of flavor that we want and the amount of fat. Our ground beef has finished browning. Now you can just drain this if you'd like, but what I prefer to do is just put a paper towel in it and soak up much of the fat. You can also, if you want to, sort of push the meat to one side and spoon it out. I remembered a trash bowl this time, and so I'm just going to fold it over and stick it in, and we're going to see so much of that. And it's also quieter, so you can tell that my dog smells meat, that it's soaking up the grease. And I just keep a garbage bowl to put the greasy paper towels in. You don't need this, monkey. Perfect. Okay, now it tells us to add a 24-ounce jar of marinara sauce. If you want to make it fresh, you're going to peel, core, and cook down 6 to 8 tomatoes with onions, garlic, salt, pepper, oregano, and basil, and then use an immersion blender. But we have the jar, but just a quick recipe in case you don't want to do that. Now, I like to add just the tiniest bit of water and shake it up just to make sure we're getting all of our pasta sauce out. Beautiful. Okay. It tells us in the recipe to stir this in and to simmer it on low for about 10 minutes. So that's what we're going to do. And while we're doing that, while that is simmering, actually, we're going to be making our cheese mixture. We are going to make our cheese mixture. I'm going to begin by putting in a block of pretty much softened cream cheese. It's hard to get it completely softened unless you leave it on the counter overnight, which we often do. I am using a bigger serving fork just because, I'm going to kind of want to blend it in like this. So then we are going to add, this says 1 cup of ricotta cheese. It is, excuse me, a little bit more than half because this is 15 ounces. I'm going to add a little bit more than half of this ricotta. I can hear the questions now because I had them before I started cooking a lot. Mascarpone is not substitutable for ricotta. And then I'm going to take a cup, which again is exactly half of this sour cream. It's a little friend. And then the next part is shocking to me, that there is a really large amount of dried basil. Now, put this to the side. I did not use only dried basil because it's expensive. So I mixed mostly dried basil. It calls for a half a cup and some Italian seasoning. So I'm going to start sort of mashing this. I was like, oh, that mashed so easily. Well, I hadn't gotten to the cream cheese yet. So I'm going to start mashing this. And when we get finished, I will show you what it looks like. As you can see, we have everything blended beautifully. I am going to add, now that I've mixed everything in, our teaspoon, almost a tablespoon, teaspoon of garlic. I'm going to give this a mix. Ooh, it smells so good. I'm going to set this to the side. Our cheese mixture is set to the side. I am going to give our sauce a stir. It has been simmering for about 10 minutes. I'm going to take this over here. Now, I'm going to set this to the side as well. I'm going to cover it so it keeps some of its heat. And I'm going to set it to the side of the stove. I am going to liberally salt pasta water. And if you listen to Ina Garden, she says it should taste like the ocean. She probably says sea, actually. It should taste like the sea. So I'm going to bring that to a boil, and then we are going to cook 1 pound of dry spaghetti. Our water is at a rolling boil. We have a 2-pound box of thin spaghetti. The recipe calls for a pound of spaghetti. So I'm going to put a little bit more than half of this box. I like to break it up, especially since we're going to be making it for children. The family we're making it for has 3 kids, and I believe the oldest is 13. I don't know, kids might like it gigantic. A little bit more. Do you like dried pasta? I can't imagine that you do, but we'll give it a shot. All right, I'm going to give this a little mix. I'm going to give this a little mix and let it come to a boil back. And then I'm going to turn it on medium high, and it cooks for about 9 minutes. Our pasta has finished cooking. I'm going to put it in our colander in the sink. And now I can't see because my glasses are all fogged up. All right, perfect. We are going to be layering our recipe together. Remember, I'm making it for more than one person. So I'm going to put a layer of our spaghetti on the bottom of our dish. And again, I have, maybe not again, I don't think I told you. I took a pat of butter right here and I lightly greased it just because there's spaghetti going on the bottom. And we don't want it to stick. Then I'm going to put a layer of our tomato ground beef mixture. Beautiful. A little bit more. And then we're going to dollop some of our cheese mixture. And then we're going to do another layer, and on top of that layer, the same order, we are going to put a little bit of butter and some shredded mozzarella and some ground Parmesan cheese. So we're going to do our layer one more time. It looks very pretty. Now I understand why it's called almost lasagna. I'm not sure why it's not called spaghetti lasagna, but our meat sauce. Okay, now I'm going to put, I lost my knife. Hold on. I'm going to put a few pats, very small pats of butter onto our meat sauce. I'm sorry, I bet that was very loud, especially for you headphone users. Apologize for that. And put a couple more dollops. Now we're going to top it with, again, the recipe calls for 2 cups. Because we're splitting this, I'm going to put about 3/4 of a cup of mozzarella cheese over the top. Oh my goodness, I wish you could smell this. It smells so good. And then I'm going to shake, I'm going to put it in my hand. I'm going to shake a little bit of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to make sure it's broken up. Fantastic. We're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes, and we'll get back with you when we pull it out and we'll show you what it looks like. Our almost pasta is out of the oven. You can see all the delicious basil in there and the cheese. I can't wait to try this. Let us know if you have a pasta dish that is your favorite dish to make on the go. We can't wait to see you next time. And until we do, let's keep cooking. Bye.